Hi, my name is Ray. I'm a travel junkie. You can watch my travels on YouTube with your computer or your cell phone, but best is to sit in a swivel chair, put on your headset, and join me on adventures in the most beautiful places on our planet without breaking the bank. Okay, let's check out Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, and the out-of-this-world heritage site, Ha Long Bay. Join me on this journey. Hanoi, which was always the capital of Vietnam since about 1,000 years. It always was the political center. Hanoi, the word Hanoi actually means between two rivers. It's between the Red River and the Da River. And if you are a little bit interested in the rich history of Hanoi, I recommend a tour guide. If you get a tour guide who drives around with you on a bike and shows you all those sites he knows you would be interested in, you can get a good deal from these tour guides in Hanoi. But I walked around the lake a bunch of times to get some exercise, and apparently there's a lake in Hanoi where Senator John McCain landed and got captured. A nice little interesting side note. For 60 years, from 1883 to 1945, the French ruled that place, and it reflects in their architecture. An outstanding example for the French architecture is the Opera House. You walk to the Opera House, you think you're in Paris. It's that simple. It's a beautiful building, and actually the traffic there is not so bad, like in the older parts of the town where the streets are narrow. The French kept those streets and boulevards fairly wide and big, so it's easy to cross the street there, get close. Sometimes they have exhibitions or concerts in that opera building. Something worthwhile to check out. Again, Hanoi translated means between two rivers, the Da River and the Red River. And I tried to get some shots of the Red River, and that was the most complicated thing I did in Hanoi. Just to get to the river is quite an undertaking, because you have to cross the freeway, which is almost impossible. And then you have to go to shanty towns where nobody speaks any more English and nobody can point you in the right direction. So I just kept going into one direction where I thought is the Red River. The streets got narrower and narrower, and there was no way to go further till there was a restaurant. And I thought if I go through the restaurant, I might get to the river. So I went into the restaurant and I saw the river, but in order to get some footage, I had to order something to eat and be in the restaurant. That's where the chicken toes story comes in. It wasn't chicken feet, it was chicken toes. I was like afraid if I don't eat it, maybe they'll throw me in the Red River or something. So there was, thanks God, there was a lot of salad, and I could hide all the chicken toes under the big salad. It made it look like I ate them. I paid quickly and ran out of the restaurant and looked over my shoulder a few times. I guess they discovered that I didn't eat the chicken toes too late, and I was gone already. But I did get some footage of the Red River. So I stayed at the Hotel Nostalgia. It's near the lake. It's nice to walk around also through the parks. There are huge statues of emperors and kings, and everybody takes photos and admires them. In those parks also is a lot of Tai Chi, yoga, and exercise classes going on. It's nice to see these people keep in shape. if you walk through this one park, there is Li Tai-to. He was emperor about 1,000 years ago, or even longer ago, and kicked everybody's ass. He is very highly admired by everybody who knows his history. And again, he's one of those big emperors who made Hanoi. He was the one who resided in Hanoi and made it the political capital way back. And then back in the lake, there's a little island with a beautiful Buddhist temple. And just walking through those parks is really beautiful because you couldn't find a piece of paper on the floor or no rubbish. They keep them really clean. It's like in Switzerland somehow. Hanoi, I have to say, has quite a few tourists. I think there are more tourists than in Ho Chi Minh City, because the climate is a little bit more accommodating to everybody. It never really gets really hot. It never really gets really cold. It's moderate. It's almost 1,000 miles further north, so it doesn't have the tropical climate, which was great for me walking around in Old Town. Old Town really in Hanoi is the place to be. You can buy whatever you ever fancy. Everything gets sold, mainly on the streets. Even if you would want to buy something in a shop, it's hard to get in the shop because everything is in front of the shops. The souvenirs, the clothes, the food, everything. There is one street that's called the Beer Street at night. The reason why it's called Beer Street, because I really smelled it. It smells like beer there, and it's all foreigners and tourists drinking the good beer. There is Saigon and there is Hanoi beer, and both are really good. I don't think they compete. One other thing which highly recommended when I asked, where can I get the best banh mi here? The owner of the hotel I stayed, she told me, go banh mi 25. So banh mi 25, I thought it's easy to find. I walked around about an hour and a half till I found it, and then I was so hungry. I should have ordered 3 or 4 banh mi's right there. I was so hungry, but there was a fairly big line, and finally I got to order mine. And they said, yeah, it's gonna take a while. Why don't you sit across the street there and have a beer and we'll bring it over to you? And that's what happened. I ate that banh mi and I knew why they're saying this is the best banh mi in town. The price of the banh mi was $1. It was super delicious. The beer was about $1.50. So my hunger was satisfied for $2.50 with delicious beer and banh mi. A great tip from me to everybody who goes to Hanoi: take the rickshaw. Hire a rickshaw for an hour and tell them to show you whatever is interesting. They get you through the city fairly quickly, and you get to experience how to maneuver around in that traffic. And the first 10 minutes I was scared maybe I lose my toes, my feet, or my legs in the traffic, but it all worked out fine, and you get to see 80% of the old town pretty much, because those guys are paddling like they be in the Tour de France, and I actually had to slow them down, but they point out some interesting landmarks, and you get a really good impression of the whole old town space, the town's living quarters, shops, and everybody is friendly. It's a great way to get around and see as much as possible of Old Town Hanoi. Another thing, the owner of my hotel called Nostalgia, which was very nice, right in the middle of Old Town, was like $32, beautiful room. She did also my laundry, and she says, you know, go to the Women's Museum and go to the Water Puppet Museum. The Women's Museum, surprisingly, there weren't many people, but it's way worth it. It's 4 stories high. Look up, you see the 4 stories, and it tells you why Vietnam is where it is now. Vietnam is in a good place right now because of women. Women went to war for it. Women take care of kids. Women take care of the food. Women are the center of their family life. An interesting stat also is the divorce rate in Vietnam is not like in the United States, 65% of all marriages. It's not like in Europe, 50% of all marriages. It's below 1%. It tells you it's based on family life there, and you can't go wrong with that attitude. I think one whole floor of the Women's Museum is dedicated to the women soldiers, the way they could fight in combat against the Americans, and eventually won the war. The Women's Museum, it's really worth the couple bucks it costs to go there. After the Women's Museum, I went to the recommended water puppet show. Unfortunately, I couldn't really film in there with the camera above my head. The people behind me maybe would have thrown me in the water. So I didn't want to risk that, and I thoroughly enjoyed the 1-hour show. It's very entertaining and also tells you a part of their history. So the next day I decided to go to World Heritage Site Ha Long Bay. Everybody saw it probably in movies, in pictures. It's one-of-a-kind site. So when you drive there, make sure you stop at the Pearl Museum on your way to Ha Long Bay. I took the bus, which was comfortable. We had a guide who explained a lot of things, and thanks God we made a stop to use the Happy Room. We all know by now what the Happy Room in Vietnam is. The Happy Room is the bathroom, and everybody always is happy when we can stop at the bathroom after 2 hours in the bus. So there was the Pearl Museum, and pearls in every shape, pearl chains, pearl rings, pearl everything, and it's so beautiful, and you can buy it. It's not even that expensive. You think pearls are very precious. There's so many pearls, they can keep the price low, and I highly recommend to bring a pearl chain or pearl earrings or pearl rings back to your girlfriend, or maybe also to your wife, so they're both happy. Then you finally arrive at the harbor, and I was set up with a crew of like 20 people from around the world also, and we had this beautiful boat. First thing, of course, we got some lunch and some drinks, and I was very fortunate to be on the table with 5 girls from Germany and from Holland and from Scandinavia, and we made friends within 5 minutes. We ate. The food was delicious, but outside the site was incredible. It's 3,001 islands. I don't know who counted them, but and I hope he's right. I don't want to tell you any stories here. 3,001 islands. Most of them even have names. So we cruised through these islands, and there was an island that had a little tower on top of it. They put staircase to get up there, and you had a beautiful view. And you also could stay down there because that island was one of the few islands that had a sand beach. So it was time to take a swim in Halong Bay. The water was actually pretty cold, but refreshing, because the temperature was like around 80, 85 degrees. So it was nice to jump in the water. Of course, there are a lot of other boats and ships, and what I would recommend to hire a boat where you can stay overnight, 1 or 2 nights, and see more of the 3,001 islands, maybe 51 islands or 100, and you get fed and you have a nice cabin with bed, and you stay there for a night or two and really get an impression of this world-class site. So on to the next adventure in Halong Bay is, who wants to go on the bamboo boat, or you can also take a kayak, and we go through this tunnel into like a lagoon, and everybody is on their own and to discover what's going on there. So I wanted to do the kayak, but then I wouldn't have a hand free to film it, so you would have to just look at some photos. But now you can come with me and experience that like I did. Wherever you look, it's a spectacle of cliffs and trees, the water, and a lot of caves around. So we go through that cave, and it feels like it's never gonna end. I feel the cave's gonna come out in New Orleans or New York. That's how far it keeps on going and going. I think I overheard one of the tour leaders that it's the second biggest cave in the world. By the way, the biggest one is a little bit more inland and also in Vietnam, and apparently it takes 10 days to go through that one. I needed a longer visa to do this, so I stuck with the second biggest cave, and it was pretty spectacular. This cave adventure was also included in the boat trip. So that day was a 14-hour day. You look around, you see stalagmites, and you see caves, and you see waterfalls out of stone. And what they told me that before it became an empty cave, it was all underwater. It was an underwater cave. Now, thanks God, it's over water. I couldn't dive that long. We went through this whole cave. It took about an hour, but I have to say, every step and every turn, it was a different sight. Even the colors changed. Some of the rocks were blue, some were red, some were orange. Some of those rocks had some really weird formations. One rock really looked like a penis, and everybody took photos there. So when you come out of the cave, there are a couple of souvenir stands. You might want to buy something there. It's cheap and there's some beautiful stuff. When you look down at all the ships anchored there and bringing in the people to go through the cave. It's a beautiful bay. Don't miss it. Don't miss the caves. It's a one-in-a-lifetime experience. Back on the boat, the sun was going down. It's gotten so romantic. Even now, looking at this for you and showing it to you, I get tears in my eyes. It's one romantic moment where the whole crew of the boat was partying. We had hors d'oeuvres, dessert drinks, and we all watched the sun going down behind 3001 islands. Slowly we made our way back into the harbor. Everybody got really silent. It was one hell of a day. You would love being on those boats. The sea is very calm. It's super smooth. No worries about getting seasick or anything. One other thing you're definitely not gonna be homesick, because you want to stay there forever. And that was about it for Vietnam. I hope you enjoyed the trip with me. Seeing all these incredible sights. Vietnam has so much to offer. My next trip, I tell you the secret, it'll be the Baltic Sea. Check out where that is. I'm not gonna tell you right now, but you can join me. Thanks for watching. I see you on my next affordable luxury trip in the Baltics.